Yes, in the recent years, I've probably been best known for the DC work that I've done, which is Wonder Woman Rebirth and Brave and the Bold, and then a 2-year run with Grant Morrison on the Green Lantern, which was a joy, and then more recently, Batman Reptilian with Garth. But I've been around for 35 years now, which is insane. I can't believe it's been so long, because it certainly doesn't feel that long. And I probably got my start back in the day on things like the Hulk and Death Set 2 was my big sort of breakout, but I started on 2000 AD before that. So I've been around a long time, and this is sort of a 30-year overdue project for me. Well, it's Excalibur meets Terminator via Doctor Who. Really, I don't know how I could that doesn't really do it justice, but I suppose it does. I mean, we all love Excalibur, right? And we all love Terminator, and the Doctor Who bit just brings in the sort of nerdy pop culture element that is somewhere in the middle. There's the time traveling element, and it is a big story. It's going across time. The plan is for it to, the first book is sort of the 5th century, early Arthurian stuff, and that gets skimmed over quite quickly. It's more in the sort of Grant Morrison way, because I didn't really want it to be just about the King Arthur stories. It's really just a big love letter to not just the sort of artists that I love from the 80s and the 90s, people like Bill Sienkiewicz and Dave McKean. It's pretty apparent that they're a big influence on my work. But there's also, in some of my work, there's a bit of Frazetta. There's stuff like Chris Foss, some of the big fantasy artists. Even Jeffrey Catherine Jones was an influence on this. It really is a kind of mishmash of stuff going as far back as the 70s and even earlier, that's sort of been filtered through my comic experience. But I thought for this that I just wanted to go really big and epic with it, and it seemed like a really good opportunity to do that. The sort of classical approach to science fiction as well as fantasy work, but I'm hoping too that it's not as ponderous as it might seem. It's meant to have a bit of levity to it. Amber's got a bit of sass, I think. So hopefully it's a more enjoyable read than it could sort of seem with the big epic themes that are being put out there and some of the imagery. I think it's got a little bit more light to it than it might appear to have.